Good morning.
Okay, so we are going to start actually on our belly today. You might want to, for our last pose, have a bolster and a couple of blocks or maybe a couple of pillows. If you don't have a bolster, just any sort of firm pillow, but you don't necessarily need it. You could do the whole pose without it. So we're going to come onto our belly and just relax. You're going to just stack your arms, place your forehead on your arms. Point the toes back. You can lift the legs and just reach them back a little bit. And then just let the hips soften into the floor and let the legs relax. Just feel your breath. So right here, we're just feeling the belly expand into the mat on your inhale and soften away from the mat on the exhale. And then we're going to take your right arm, reach it out to the right, and then roll onto your right side. So you want to have your arm in line with your shoulder. So you don't want it too high or too low. You want it to be straight out. And then we're just going to roll onto your side like so. You could stack your legs, you could bend your knee, and your left hand is just on the floor for balance. And I stretch through your shoulder. Good, coming back to center. Stack the arms. Let's reach that left arm straight out to the left. Right hand on the floor, just rolling onto your side. You can bend the knee. Breathe. Good, and then back onto your belly. Stacking the arms. We're going to do one more where we roll onto our side. So we're going to roll onto our right side. And this time you just reach your right arm up. You could also put your hand on your head, but I like to relax mine down. I'm going to reach back with my left hand and grab my left foot. So we're just going to hug your left knee down towards your right knee, and then let that knee go back a little bit behind your knee. So you're getting a little bit of a quad stretch here. Opening into your hip flexor and maybe engaging that glute just a little bit. Good. Kicking into your hand. Just kicking your foot into your hand just a little bit. Nice. And then release. Coming back down. Stacking the arms, setting up for the other side. We're going to roll onto the left side so you can put your head in your hand or come straight down. Right hand comes up. We're going to grab onto that foot. We're going to press the knees together toward one another. Good. And then pull that knee behind the other. The top knee gets pulled behind as we roll the hip forward. Engage the glute just a little bit. Kick your foot into your hand for a little more stretch. And you'll feel the ligaments around your knee. That's okay as long as it doesn't hurt. Breathe. Good. And release. Coming back onto your belly. Let's press back up into child's pose, but let's grab those blocks. If you don't have a blocks, you could use your bolster or a long pillow for this as well. So we're just going to bring this forward. I'll just use my bolster here, but you could use blocks for this as well. And we're going to just have that here for a moment and just let your back soften into child's pose. Maybe bring your arms down by your sides. Maybe let them be in front, whatever feels good, just to open up the back a little bit. Good. Now we're going to come up and we're just going to bring this bolster in a little bit. Now you want it low enough that your arms can go on, but you want your head, if it's really extreme, you're going to put your forehead right on that bolster. If you want a little more stretch, you're going to bring that forehead to the floor while your arms are laying on the bolster. And we're just going to hold this for a few moments. So the head on the bolster just makes it so that it's a little more relaxing if you find this a large stretch. I'm just feeling that. If this feels fairly easy to you, you could also bring your hands together and bring your arms behind your head, your hands behind your head, just for a little bit more of a stretch. But it's definitely not mandatory to go that route. Breathe into your rib cage to deepen the pose a little bit. And we're going to straighten into the arms if they're bent. Bring your hands down. Let's come up. Nice. Okay, so let's come up onto our hands and knees. Curl the toes under as much as you can and just sit onto your heels. So we're just going to get a little stretch into the feet. And then we can roll the heels toward one another and we can roll them away. So you're just stretching a little more into the big toe when you bring your heels together, a little bit more into the pinky when you roll your heels apart. Good, just a couple of those. Nice, one more. Really nice. Uncurl those toes. Let's just slap them out a little bit. And we'll come to seated. Very nice. So we're just going to sit up tall. If you want to sit on your bolster, feel free. And just cross your legs, whatever's comfortable. And we're just going to do a few cat cows. So we're just going to round and arch. Round and arch. I'm going to just keep it a little bit fluid here. So first we're just moving the hips back and forth. So think about this movement, not so much happening in the back, but happening in your hips. So you're tilting the hips back and forth. And you're just rolling back behind the sits bones and then in front, tipping that pelvis. Good. And then really exaggerate it between the shoulder blades now, really rounding through the shoulder blades and then bringing the shoulder blades together. So you're really moving that back. Good. Nice. And then we're going to just maybe do a few big circles around. Just moving the spine side to side, rolling it back, rolling it forward. Finding some organic movement. Let's switch directions. Good. Nice. And then finding stillness, sitting up tall. Let's bring the bottoms of the feet together. So we're going to bring your feet. You can have them anywhere. So you could bring them really close up to you. You could bring them a little bit further away. And then we're going to take your hands, your left hand to your right ankle, your right hand to your left. So we're crossed. Okay. So we're going to use that top hand. I'm going to turn so you can see what I'm doing. So we're going to sit up tall. So whichever hand came on top for you, mine is my right. We're going to hold this for a moment. And then we're going to take your right hand or your top hand, and we're just going to bring it back. Follow the thumb with your gaze and reach. Good. Breathe. Nice. Reach back. Twisting. Lift the chest. Turn. Good. Holding on to that ankle to really help you get that twist in. Good. Let's bring that back hand forward. Grab onto that ankle. And then we're going to take that left arm, follow the thumb, reach it back. Good. Reach, reach, reach. Good. Try to look at your thumb. Try to see it. If you can't see it, that's okay. You're just trying. And then we're going to bring that hand back down. Good. Let's do one more each side. Sit up tall. Right hand reaches back. Look at the thumb. Try to see it. Notice which side is easier to see your thumb. Maybe you can see your thumb on one side and not on the other. Good. Coming up. Bring that hand back. Left hand reaches back. Reach it back. Good. Breathe. Reach it. Nice. Bring that hand forward. Grab onto the ankles. Sitting up tall. Good. Sitting up nice and tall. And then let's fold it forward. Good. Breathe. Let the head hang down. Try to get the elbows to touch. If the elbows don't touch the floor, if it's really hard to get forward, bring that bolster or your blocks in and use your bolster or your blocks as support. So feel free to use your props here. You can also take your elbows to your thighs and just press the elbows into the thighs for a little more inner thigh stretch. Let the head hang just to stretch the back of the neck. Good. Coming up. Nice. So we can cross the legs into what's comfortable, or if you want to leave your feet together, you can do that. And we're just going to sit up nice and tall. Bring your head towards your chest. So we're just letting the head hang down. Interlace the fingers, lay them on the back of your head, just a little extra weight. Let's bring the hands down, and then we're just going to roll. We're going to roll one ear to one shoulder. Good. And then we're going to roll the other ear to the other shoulder. So just going to do that. Roll. And roll. Now, if you want to go all the way around, feel free to go all the way around. Just feel it, switch directions. But I like to stay forward. It just feels better for me. So I just like to come forward, roll from one side to the other side. So do what feels good to you. Good. Now we're going to land on your right side. So we're just going to stay right here. Good. And let that ear just gently start to stretch down to your right ear to your right shoulder, just holding. And then maybe take your left hand, walk it out. So we're just walking it out, stretching this area all the way to the fingertip. Maybe take your hand up and over and grab your head and just gently be a weight for your head. Good, and then release. Let's bring the head up to center. Take your left hand behind you. We're going to grab that wrist. We're going to pull it over to the right. And then bring your arm up behind you. And we're just going to try to touch the hands. If they don't touch, that's okay. Just open the palms on your back. One palm's going to face out, one's going to face in, and you're just working them toward one another. Just a nice little stretch. Good, and release. Nice. Good. Now let's just bring that head back down. Let it hang. Roll the head. One side to the other. One side to the other. Breathe. Good. And let's land on your left side. I'm going to stay right here. Walk your right hand out to the right. Reaching all the way through the fingertips. So we're making that connection from the neck all the way down the arm. Maybe taking that hand up and over for a little extra stretch. Breathe. Good. Coming back up. Let's reach that hand behind you, grab the wrist, and just pull it. Nice stretch into that shoulder. We're going to leave the hand behind, palm face up on the back. Bring your other hand up and over, palm face down. We're going to be reaching the hands together. Maybe they touch, maybe they don't touch, maybe they're nowhere near each other. That's okay. So just a nice stretch into the shoulder. Good. And release. Shake them out. Shake them out. Let's roll those shoulders. Good. One more pose while we're seated. We're going to just reach your right hand out to the right. Let's reach up and over. Press your hip down. So feel that hip go down as you lift your rib cage up. And I like to press into my right hand here. It just helps me lift my rib cage a little bit. And then think about my rib cage twisting up toward the ceiling as I look up toward the ceiling. Good. Breathe. Good. Coming back up. Nice. Let's walk the hand over. Pressing the hip down. So we're pressing the hip down. Use your hand to help you as we reach that hand up and over. Good. So we're going to really turn that chest up to the ceiling, reaching. Try to soften where you can. We'll lift the rib cage up, stretching, opening through the chest here. Good. Coming back up. Nice. Good. So let's take your bolster or your pillow or whatever you have, if you have it. If you don't have it, you could use a rolled up mat, or you could just lay flat down on your mat. You're going to have the blocks handy on either side. If you don't have blocks, you could use blankets or pillows, or you could use nothing at all. So this could be done completely on the floor with no props. And then we're going to come down onto the bolster here and lay all the way back. Now, if your head is really, your chin's really poking up, just stick a little pillow behind your head. That's totally fine. And then we're going to have the blocks available because we're going to use those in a moment, but let's heel toe the feet over to the edges of your mat. And while we're here, let's lower, keep your feet wide, and we're going to lower the knees over to the right, back up to center, and then over to the left. Just a little stretch into the hips here. We're going to just do a few. If you're inching down a little bit off your bolster, you can just inch back up in a moment, so don't worry about it. Good, and then back to center. Pull that bolster in if you want to. Good. And then let's heel toe the feet together. Let the knees come down to the sides. You can bring your blocks in underneath the thighs here for a little bit of support. So I like to put it where I feel a stretch, but not a deep stretch, because I want my inner thighs to relax. So this is one of those, we did psoas like a few weeks ago. This is another way to open the psoas, but in a relaxing way. So we're just trying to feel the stretch, finding the edge, and then backing off just a hair so that it can relax and soften. Your arms can be down by your sides, or you can walk them right out to the sides to open the chest a little bit more. Close your eyes. Breathing deeply. Let's do 5 more breaths right here. Slowly just bring some movement into the fingers and toes. If the knees are apart, bring the knees together. Let's just roll partially to one side as you press up to a seated position. Sitting up. Just take a couple of breaths before we move on with our busy day. Thank you for sharing your practice with me. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste. Thank you.